ever get that feeling? Like you woke up one day and suddenly everyone's speaking a different language. We're diving deep into those moments, and you realize, maybe I'm not as with it as I thought I was. Those times you realize you're officially old.
Yeah.
And you know what? You actually sent in a request to really unpack this whole idea. So this entire deep dive, this is for you.
It really is. It's fascinating how universal that experience is.
Right.
We all age, obviously.
Right.
But there's something about pop culture, about technology, that seems to just like, I don't know, accelerate the whole thing. It creates these almost comical moments of disconnect.
Totally. And our deep dive, our topic today was actually inspired by a radio show prompt that asked listeners to share stories about exactly that, when they realized they were out of touch or maybe just, not as young as they used to be.
Yeah. What's so intriguing about this prompt is how it wasn't just asking for like broad thoughts about aging, right? It was going after those really specific, often hilarious anecdotes. Like, that moment when you try to use a slang term that you swear you heard on TikTok.
Yes.
And the entire room just goes silent.
Oh, I've been there. Brutal. So the radio show wanted to hear about those aha moments, particularly when it came to things like, using outdated slang or just totally missing the point of the latest viral trend.
And as funny as those stories can be, they actually hint at something a lot deeper.
What?
I mean, these moments when we feel a little bit out of sync with the world, it can tap into a real anxiety about aging, about relevance.
Yeah.
Especially in a culture that's, obsessed with youth.
It's so true. It's like you suddenly realize there's this gap, this chasm almost between you and what's considered current.
Yeah.
And it can be jarring, even if you can laugh about it later. But before we dive into some hypothetical situations, I'm actually really curious. Have you had any of those, wait, am I old moments lately? Something that made you stop and think, okay, I might not be current years old anymore.
Yeah. Give us your best example.
I bet some really specific moments are coming to mind for some people. While you're pondering those, we came up with a few scenarios based on that radio show prompt, just things that might sound familiar. Okay, so picture this. You overhear your niece using some slang. You want to be the cool aunt, the cool uncle, so you try to slip it into a conversation, and she just stares at you with this blank expression like you just landed a spaceship on her birthday cake.
Oh, man.
It's the verbal equivalent of tripping over thin air.
It's such a classic example, though, isn't it? Because it's not just about the word itself, right? It's about how language, especially slang, acts as this constantly evolving code. And what's considered cool today might sound ridiculous tomorrow, and it reflects these larger shifts in values and social norms.
It's true. Okay, how about this? You're scrolling online and you see like an image, a meme.
Right.
Everyone's commenting about how hilarious it is, but you have no idea why. You have to go and ask your kid to explain the meme.
Yeah, and suddenly you're the one on the receiving end of that okay boomer explanation, right? It's interesting how so many of these am I old moments, they all seem to revolve around technology or pop culture. Like, younger generations just seem to absorb this stuff almost instinctively.
Right. This reminds me of a time when I asked my daughter to explain a meme to me, and she sighed and said, she goes, "Dad, he wouldn't get it."
Oh.
And I felt ancient.
It happens to all of us.
But it makes you wonder, right? What will be that thing in 20 years? What will be that thing that makes people go, wait, am I old? Like, will it be something that we can't even imagine yet?
Or even more intriguing, right? What are we already out of touch with that we don't even know about? Like, what's right around the corner?
Oh, now that's something to think about.